Hi there, welcome to my Vision Story. Firstly, was Redwan Hussein, Ethiopian intelligence agency chief, spoke about need for Ethiopia to gain access to sea. He indirectly criticized past governments too, especially EPRDF, and he reiterated Ethiopian resolve to be the owner of Seagate no matter what the cost is. No matter what the cost is. This is alarming. Ethiopia seems to be fully committed to gain access to sea no matter what happens. What did he say? Secondly, Oromo Liberation Army has shared some details of its operations in the last few days, the last 1 week or so. Where did Oromo Liberation Army conduct operations, carry out attacks on government forces? OLA has shared some details and published a video too showing dozens of its fighters on the move. Let's start, viewers. Firstly, we know that Redwan Hussein and Janal Jula have held discussions in Mogadishu, Somalia. They are reaching agreements with the government of Somalia about the continuation of deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force in Somalia, where for years ENDF has been part of peacekeeping operations. They have signed status of force agreement SOFA with their Somali counterparts. SAFO agreements determine the nature of relations between a host country and a foreign country. Host country, which is hosting foreign forces. Ethiopia has managed to maintain its military presence in Somalia, though for that it had to freeze its MOU with Somaliland. But access to sea is still on the mind of Ethiopian leaders. They say no compromise on that. And when we say access to sea, we don't mean what Ethiopia has access to sea in Djibouti. That is not access to sea. That is commercial use of port in Djibouti. Ethiopia wants more than that. It wants sustainable access to sea through maybe a port lease agreement with rights of Ethiopian forces, Ethiopian government fully determined under the agreement. So access to sea for Ethiopia is more than what it has in Djibouti. Redwan Hussein has been one of the key men in Ethiopia when it comes to big decision making. He's the one who negotiated Pretoria deal with EPLF. He's the one who led talks with the Oromo Liberation Army. Twice in Tanzania, talks collapsed. He's the one who is leading Ethiopian policy towards access to sea. So he is one of the very few in top tier of Ethiopian ruling elite who are the center of all the big decisions which are being made by PM Abiy's government. Redwan, I have a clip of Redwan Hussein which I will attach at the end of this video. Redwan has been heard saying that the right time for Ethiopia to gain access to sea was yesterday. He criticized Malice, I think, that Malice should have ensured access to sea, or EPRDF should have ensured access to sea, but they agreed to a landlocked Ethiopia. So that was a bad move. They should have ensured access to sea. I, by the way, agree with Ridwan. I criticize Malice too. I criticize EPRDF on this issue. I think that Malice, EPRDF committed a blunder. To make your country landlocked is a blunder. Maybe back then they did not know that in future being landlocked could be a serious obstacle to the progress, prosperity of the country. Or they were not in a position, they were helpless. Had they pressed the case for access to sea, that could have led to a war. So they thought of just putting the issue on the back burner. So I agree that perhaps in the past, it would have been easier for Ethiopia to gain sustainable access to sea. Secondly, Ridwan said that today is better than tomorrow. It means that if this issue of access to sea is prolonged, it will become increasingly difficult for Ethiopia to gain access to sea in future. Today, perhaps, is better. Today should be, government should try, people should try to gain access to sea today. Tomorrow, it will become more difficult. Again, I agree, because the way today alliances are emerging against the Ethiopian government to stop it from getting access to sea. Tomorrow, we could see more challenges. Last point he mentioned is alarming. He said, Ethiopia wants access to sea. Ethiopia wants to be the owner of the gate to sea, no matter what the cost is. No matter what the cost is, means that cost could be human cost, cost could be financial cost could be in the form of a war. He did not say that, but this is what he meant. Means no matter what the future hold for Ethiopia in terms of its aspiration to gain access to sea, it wants sea access. For that, it is ready to sacrifice as well. Alarming to some extent. It means that Ethiopian leaders want to gain access to sea, whether they have to use force or through dialogue. Secondly, viewers, Oromo Liberation Army yesterday shared details of its operations conducted in the last 1 week in different parts of Oromia. OLA is trying to prove, OLA Communist Group, that it is still intact, that its ability to carry out attacks across the region, Oromia region, is intact. Nagasa's surrender, other OLA commanders' surrender did not affect OLA's capabilities. Where did OLA carry out attacks in the last 1 week? The statement mentioned Southwest Shoa zones, Southern Sodo district, Harbo, Kulele, Artuma Farsi is mentioned too. I think it's a Oromia special zone of the Amhara region. East Valega, Goto, Gida district. Guji, Gilanta district there. Then RC zone, Heban town. East RC, Bono Badale. And there are several other zones and towns that mentioned where, according to the Oromo Liberation Army, in attacks carried out by OLA, several government soldiers were killed, weapons were seized by OLA fighters in these operations there. OLA is going through hard times, definitely, though it is trying to prove as if nothing has changed. But perhaps this is the most serious challenge faced by OLA in recent years. Government is hoping to crush OLA. Government hopes that through the use of Sani and Nagasa's experience, through the involvement of neighboring countries, it can inflict crushing blows to the capabilities of the Oromo Liberation Army. OLA has shared a clip showing the mobilization of its fighters. OLA is trying to ensure that OFC and OLF remain on its side and they don't sit with the government. The two held a meeting, 3-day-long meeting. The meeting concluded 2 days ago. So far, they have not announced to start any formal talks with the government, but they're calling for unity in Oromia. This point about unity in Oromia is definitely linked to the propaganda being launched by Vimavi's government that Oromia could be in danger because Northerners are uniting against Oromia. OLA is not buying this narrative. It is warning OFC and OLF that they should not give legitimacy to the Ethiopian government by talking to the government. Watch two clips. First one show Redwan Hussein You can hear what he's saying about access to sea. Second clip shows Oromo Liberation Army fighters on the move. Thanks for watching.
ካለም ከፍለን ኢትዮጵያ ወደብ ባለቤት መሆን አለባት
በሚል ነው አማራጭ የማግኘት ብቻ አይደለም ወደብ ከሆነ ፖርት ሱዳንም ላሙም ባይዶዋም በርበራም በሙሉ መጠቀም እንችላለን ለሱ ለማድረግ ነው የምንሞክረው ሲ አክሰስ ግን አንድ የተወሰነ ቦታ ላይ ማግኘት አለብን ይቀር ቦታ ላይ መከላከል ምንችልበት ኢንቨስት ማድረግ ምንችልበት ያስፈልገናል የሚል ነው በዚህ ረገድ የሁሉም ኢትዮጵያዊ የጋራ ኃላፊነት ይሆናል መቼ እናርገው ትክክለኛው መቼ ጊዜ ነበር ከተባለ የምንልክ ጊዜ ነው በምንልክ ጊዜ ለናሳካው አልቻለም ካድዋ በላይ መሻገር ያድዋን ድልም ያስበላ ስለነበረ አንዳንድ ሰዎች እንደሱ ስለሚወቅሱ ነው ታሪኩ ግን የሚነግረን እሱ ነው ያድዋ ድልን ያሳኩ ምንልክ በዛው እግራቸው በመረብን መሻገር ሞክረው ቢሆን ኖሮ ያድዋን ድልም ያስበሉ ነበር አሁን ያላት ኢትዮጵያንም በዚህ መልክ ላናገኛት ምንችልበት እድል ይኖር ነበር ግን ትክክለኛው ጊዜ ያኔ ነው ቢሆን ኖሮ ከውጭ መጣውን ጠላት መከተን እስከ ወዳኛው ከዋ ባሻገር መውሰድ ተገቢ ነበር ሁለተኛው የኃይለ ሥላሴ ነው ደርግ እንኳን ትንፋሽ የነበረው አይመስለኝም ሶስተኛው የኢህአዴግ ነው አራተኛው ትክክለኛ ጊዜ አሁን ነው መቼ ነው ትክክል ጊዜ የሚሆነው ከተባለ